All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the CanCom Broadcast Network, and streaming us as well as broadcasting us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, 1220 AM on your radio dial, and on the internet, streaming us at classic1220.ca. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is Dorothy Holder. And Dorothy is a clairvoyant energy therapist who helps others solve problems, personal dilemmas, and gain spiritual development. She has over 23 years of experience as a full-time professional person and online. Based in the far north of New Zealand's North Island, she educates professionals in the healing arts and trains group leaders in meditative practices and programs. Joining me now from New Zealand is Dorothy Holder, whose website is dorothyholder.com. Dorothy, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Rob. It's been a couple of years, I noticed. I was looking at when I was last on, I think it was 2025. Something like that.
Let me see, I can tell you exactly here.
I must have missed last year.
You were on, we have you here, the last time you were on was on Monday, the 15th of January, 2024.
There we go. A couple of years. I missed last year.
Yeah.
Just 1 year I missed. There you go.
So how are you?
It's like recalcitrant Kiwis. I'm very good, and I was going to ask you that too, but I thought, save it for the show. Yeah. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. I'm just doing great, thank you. The show is growing. Our audiences are growing. These topics are getting more involved, you know, with quantum physics and all the new talk about the Disclosure Project, UFOs, hunting, ghosts, Bigfoot. You know, things never change here in the X Zone except get stranger, 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 and stranger.
Stranger and stranger. The thing is that the mystery remains, right? There's this whole sort of area of life or side of life, if you like, that just seems to stay just out of focus, just enough that we have to keep hunting for it.
What happens is that you find the answer to one question, but as soon as you find that one answer, 30 or 40 more questions pop up. So it's a never-ending cycle.
It's true. But that makes it also very interesting and exciting, right? The exploration is the goal, not the so-called end game, if you like, because if it's the rapture, we don't really want to go there.
Yeah, that's true. Dorothy, for our listeners,
Not in this lifetime.
Not this lifetime, and who knows how many you've already lived and how many more you've got to go.
Exactly.
Dorothy,
Could
for the
be fun
listeners who
finding
may
out.
not have heard you the last time you were with us, going back to 2024, what first awakened your interest in spirituality and intuitive development?
I was miserable. There's no other way to put it. I was miserable. I'd done a lot of drugs, I'd done a lot of booze, I'd had terrible relationships. And one day, I think I would have been embarrassingly like 34, 35. I had a couple of kids and I was like, this surely can't be what it's all about. It's like, come on. So it started really with what I teach now. It's the developmental phase of that was to go and I trained in Hypn, which is Egyptian healing.
Mm-hmm.
And that opened up a big can of worms. It wasn't this blissful, oh, isn't this marvelous kind of experience that was being touted around Auckland at the time. It was very much a dynamic that was horrifying, and there wasn't a lot of support for that side of it. There was more like, but you should be feeling great, and aren't angels speaking to you? And it didn't really reflect the reality of self-development. When you're coming from quite a low space, you have to deal with what is emotional retardation, really. There's like all of those years of drugs and alcohol meant I hadn't really dealt with anything. And so they all came piling in at once I started working in the energy side of things and looking for answers. I've got to say, I'm terrible for asking the unanswerable question. It's like a lifelong habit. Tell me more. It's like, oh, it's more than I wanted to know. Thank you. Let's go. So it's what drove me in, and it drove me in heavy and hard because I was feeling like in my mid-30s. This is embarrassing now, and it's actually 30 years, not 23. I've got to update that, but it was embarrassing that I was so old when I started realizing that maybe I wasn't doing things correctly. It wasn't the universe chucking bad stuff at me. It was my decisions and my habits and my beliefs and basically my anger or resentment that put me where I was at that stage.
But while you were doing the drugs and the booze, you were having a good time, right?
Well, that's the truth, that I wasn't. And that's, I think, the thing that, it's all very well if you go to a party and have a few drinks, that can be fun. But I was being beaten up by a partner and another partner after that, and a lot of cheating going on. And no, it wasn't fun. It was very emotionally distressing.
Then
And
why did you keep it up?
well, people talk about addiction, but I've got funny thoughts on that now because I stopped so quickly. It's
Right.
like as soon as I wanted to stop, I stopped. And then I had to look around me and see the mess that I'd created, which I had. And that was for my young children as well. I was looking at them and thinking, oh, you poor things, you've had to put up with me. And that's sort of the hard part. The hard part is stopping and looking around and seeing what you have done to your own life and
Yeah.
those of people around you.
So, what was the defining moment in your life that set you on your spiritual path?
Did you hear that big sigh? Is there just one? So I could say it was the time when my partner walked over with my 3-year-old daughter in his arms and punched me in the face. Would that be too bald? Because that happened. And I was like totally shocked, not because he did that, he was violent, but because he did it that way and with her in his arms and at a neighbour's house. And I just thought, this is a big fat no. And so I came home. We were living in Australia at the time. So I came home and sort of ran into the arms of my older sister, if you like, and I just thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I better do it right now because I'm getting old. I'm embarrassed to say that at 30, sort of 7 or 38, but I felt like I was getting old, and my life was exactly as it was when I was 17 and 18, really.
Did you call the police and have him charged?
No.
Oh, why not?
Well, there's a few reasons. In Australia, forget it. It's just too hard. In New Zealand, there's an auto charge for partners that beat up on their wives. But on the one time the neighbours called on him, they took him away and they said to me, we can put him in jail and he won't be able to get out for a few days and he'll have to see somebody. And I was nodding my head, and then a policeman walked in, and you're already distressed, and he walked in and he says, well, he's very contrite, so maybe we should leave it this time. And So you do, and then you move on. So I haven't got good reasons for it, but there are women and people who live this in the world, and it's very easy to say, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? I'm never going to say it was because I loved him, because I'm sure I can't have. And I know that's the answer many give, but I think it was more, I just felt hopeless and helpless.
Well, I can tell you firsthand experience as being a police officer. We'd respond to a husband and wife or partners fighting, and as soon as you were to arrest or put one in handcuffs, the other would automatically turn on you, and it was crazy because something kicks in at that last moment.
I've seen and heard that as well. I'm not sure that I would have gone down that track exactly, because I was not in my head. I'm just telling you, lock them up. But I think there's an awareness of repercussions for the woman if the husband comes out the next day as well. So I think it's a very complicated scenario for police officers. And
I don't think that the laws are strict enough when it comes to how the system protects women.
Well, I think certain countries do try hard. It's just, as you say, sometimes the women turn around and become the defender of the offender. Yeah. And then they've got kids. It's very difficult. I know very early on when I had a client come to me who I knew had been mistreated, and I learned very quickly, you just don't tell the girl to leave. You just don't. They're just going to get up their defenses. And so I took the tack of saying, well, this is what I see if you stay. Yeah.
No, but what I'm also saying is that there is no support for the woman, because like you said, the guy is going to get out the next day or a couple of days and then just beat the living snot out of the woman. And she's got her family to think about, and there's not enough support. And I've been one of the biggest advocates for changing this part of the law.
So we are in different countries, Rob.
Yeah.
So in New Zealand, if I'm beaten or if I'm scared of my partner, I will actually have 3 or 4 men sent around to move me out of my house and put me in temporary housing.
Oh, that's good.
But people don't use it. There you go. They wait till the last moment and they're in fear of their life maybe before they use it. There's a bottom line for whatever reason that certain women allow themselves to go for. And I'm going to qualify all of that by saying my mum was an incredibly violent woman as well. We were treated quite harshly as children.
Son of a gun.
Well, I think that's part of the game, isn't it? That you go on not expecting something different, or it feels normal to you somehow.
You and I have to take a break. Please stand by. X Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Dorothy Holder. Her website is dorothyholder.com. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. Dorothy and I will return on the other side of this break. You're listening to us on the CanCom Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca. Don't go away.
Inside this failing body, I'm still me. Morning comes before I'm ready, pain already at the door. Legs feel heavy, vision blurry, can't move like I moved before. I shuffle down another hallway, counting every careful step. Back and hips scream like thunder, but there's still fire inside my chest. They see the chair, the limp, the slowing. They see the naps I sometimes need. but they don't feel the silent battle or what it takes to simply breathe. MS has been my shadow soldier, marching with me all these years. And sometimes when the world keeps pushing, I break alone behind my tears. Inside this failing body, I'm still me, still a heart that loves so endlessly, still a mind that dreams at 3 a.m., still the same soul I've always been. I can still write, I can still create, still turn the microphone on late. This meat suit may be wearing thin, but the man I am still lives within.
Dorothy Holder is my guest, Exo Nation, www.dorothyholder.com. Dorothy, how do you personally define spiritual awakening?
Oh, that's another complicated question. Let's dive into the deep end right here, Rob.
Sure.
So it's not easy for anybody. I think one of the biggest issues facing somebody who needs to develop themselves is choosing the best way to do that. And often it starts by getting readings, and then they will either evolve that into, oh, look, I've got options in front of me if I make a choice here or there, to, you know what, I want to improve how I make my choices. I want to improve how I feel every day. I do get a bit disturbed with the abundance still 30 years later of the reward transactional spirituality that's being sold out there. You do this, you deserve it. And I'm like, well, it's a bit tougher than that. A person has to claw their way back into their lives as a driver, as a person in the driver's seat. And it's painful and often very difficult. And so for me, I would always say, if you start with foray into an energy awareness and opening up, which can help clarify your thoughts, especially if you've been having long-term bad habits, shall we call it that? We're not supposed to say the word bad, but they are bad habits and they're just continuing. Hypnotherapy is a great way to just cut to the chase and cut through that stuff, which is why I trained in it. It's like, yeah, okay, it helped me, and it helped me very quickly in an area that I felt I couldn't change. And believe it or not, that was just smoking cigarettes, and I've never wanted one since, never thought about it, not interested, not worried about it, not angry about anybody that does it. So I thought, well, that works really well. And I went and trained in clinical hypnotherapy. But my purpose there was more about, we have these things, like I mentioned, my own experiences early in life. We have these things that set us up to have a particular type of belief about love, relationships, who we are in the world, what our role is in the world. And it can be very damaging, even if it seems sort of positive, I guess. You've got families that set their kids up to compete. We've got narcissist parents. We've got parents on antidepressants. We've got a lot of stuff going on there. In my case, alcohol and drugs that my kids had to deal with when they were young. And I can remember making sure that I made an apology to them too, by the way, when they were still very young. You know what? Everything you've lived to now, my fault. We're all good. We're going to work it out, because we don't admit that to the people around us either, that we caused their problem for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really defined for me as a never-ending journey once you start it, but it's defined by the willingness to be a happier, better person. I've got a statement that I make all the time. It's like, you can be the best version of yourself, and the best version of the self is the self you like the most. That's it. It's not perfection. It's not somebody else's life. But you like yourself when you make good decisions. You like yourself when you behave in a way that you feel meets your standards and your own values. And you don't like yourself very much when you don't. So there's a scale there.
Yeah. Why do you believe so many people today feel disconnected from themselves and others?
I think there's a lot of pressure to be perfect. There's a lot of pressure to have a mental health issue rather than to be responsible for what you are saying and doing. I think there's a lot of pressure to be spiritual. There's a lot of pressure to be the person working on yourself. And so people start fulfilling a role, and to fulfill the role, they have to act, and to have to act, they can't be themselves. And I do believe that the most innate desire anybody has is to at least have a couple of people that they can just be themselves with. In fact, in successful relationships, you will hear that, won't you, quite a lot. They'll say, I can be myself. We're true friends because I can be myself with this person.
What role, in your opinion, does intuition play in our everyday lives?
Well, everybody's got it. Everybody listens to it. So intuition is one of those words that I really like because it is, I've learned this, intuition, right? I've learned it. It's become my inner knowledge throughout my lifetime, how a person quirks their eyebrow. Does their expression mean danger, from the most basic survival understandings that we have to more complex understandings as we grow a bit older. And so we also have experience that plays into intuition. I learnt this. I learnt not to go running down the stairs because the last time I did, I broke my wrist, which is an absolute truth, by the way. So I learnt not to go running down the stairs. And so when we understand those things, we're intuiting, we're intuition, we're learning all the time. And good intuition is a person who uses that, and everybody's got it. When we choose to pay attention to it. We all know when we're getting into something and we say, I'm not sure if I should do this. And whether we listen or not determines whether life goes a bit pear-shaped, or whether we feel good about ourselves because we made a harder decision that may not have reflected an insta-desire result.
If we all have intuition, how can someone begin strengthening their intuition safely and responsibly?
Okay, so I think they're two things that are different, just so we're clear. So I see auras, as you already know,
Yes.
And I know that an aura travels at 186,000 miles per second. You and I connect in like less than a second as far apart as we are, which I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, New Zealand and Canada are probably the furthest apart on Earth. Would that be right? Alaska might be further, but you're close. It's like, because we're closest to the South Pole, right? And you're pretty close to the North Pole. So I think we're virtually.
Not really. No.
Not really. Where are you then?
we're on the 49th parallel.
Okay.
This
so
part of Canada. We're in the southern part of Canada here.
Okay. Oh, Ontario, you mean?
Yeah.
So I was thinking holistically.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Okay.
Because I went and stayed in Nova Scotia when I was there for 6 months, right?
Beautiful
so
province.
I think that's probably
Beautiful
closer
province.
to Alaska.
Yeah.
It's chocolate box, truly chocolate. Every time I turned around, I thought, oh, that's a picture of an old-fashioned chocolate box right there. So it was a stunning place. And there's this, I forgot what we're talking about, my dear. I lost the plot.
You lost the plot.
You asked about intuition.
There you go.
I believe
Strengthening it.
not.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm there. Auras and clairvoyance, I do not believe are intuition. I think they're two completely different things. So going back to the aura, you're looking outward, whereas intuition truly is looking inward to my understanding. My cellular body has forgotten nothing from the minute I was conceived to the day that I actually die. When I look at somebody's aura, I can see quite a long way ahead. And I believe that a person has an innate understanding of their own timeline based on how that aura is moving ahead of them. So it can feel fated at times, but essentially they just know that a decision they made 3 years ago is still going to have an effect in 5 or 10 years' time. So we've got this two sides to that. Just like when people say I'm an empath, and I'm like, if you weren't empath, you would be kind of animalistic. You'd have a problem. You'd be a psychopath. You'd be a narcissist. You'd be a sociopath. Every human being has empathy when we've got time to, engage it for somebody or choose to engage it. So I do see them as completely separate. So to see clairvoyantly, you must look outward and see something you may never have seen or experienced before, and have to try and interpret that. And I can tell you how that can go wrong, because it's gone wrong for me on live radio. I'm not even going to mention the channel, but they no longer exist. So I had a phone call, live reading. This man rings up and he says, my name's Thomas. I've got to ask a question. It's public, so I'm allowed to say his name. And I turned around and says, I see you playing stickball or something along those lines. I see the stick and you're hitting something with it. So are you into sports? Maybe it's baseball. And I'm trying to be American here because we play softball, right? So anyway, so he responds to me like, no, I'm in a wheelchair and I've got MS and I don't play any sports at all. I felt really terrible. And then I started laughing. I think it was hysterical laughter. I start laughing. And in the end, I said, you better tell me why you called. And he was calling to see if his wife was going to leave him or not. And so I laughed harder. I just lost the whole plot. But later on, when I moved on to the next person, thinking, well, that was a massive fail. Nobody will trust me for anything ever again. Somebody jumped into the chat and said, talking about cryptozoology, he was a Yeti hunter. And he would take sticks out of apple or pear trees, and he would hit trees with these sticks, you see. And because his mind was so on his marriage and struggling with his emotions, he didn't pick up on the stick word. And because I didn't understand it at all, I went straight to sports. So you're looking at something you can't comprehend, and so you don't have intuition about what it might be. Does that make sense?
It does. It truly does.
I so love it when it makes sense.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more important it is.
I find that most of my guests always make sense.
Fantastic. Jolly good show. Pardon me.
So.
Yeah. So I see them as different experiences. And for a person to train to become a professional is a little bit different. If they want to play around, cool, have fun. But if you want to become a professional, you need to be able to look out beyond your own experience, beyond your own life, into what somebody else's life and somebody else's experience might be. And I've got to say this without judging that. Like, you know, you can't be looking at it with a jaundiced eye based on how you would feel or how you felt if it happened to you in the past. So it's a very clinical attitude that I've got to it all. And so a person who expands energetically is going to get there pretty fast, probably a couple of years, 5 years. It's not a 3-month wonder and a couple of attunements. It's a bit more than that. There's also understanding how to talk to people who are in genuine pain, you know, and having difficulty, and not just try and make them feel good because your empathy wants them to feel good, which is nice, but it's not helpful. So I'm brutal. I'm truly brutal. So
that means you're honest and you really do care.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe anybody's ever been helped by being misled and pacified, ever. Because if you're in pain, you know you're in pain.
Oh,
you know, if
sure
you're
do.
struggling, you know you're struggling. If you need help, you know you need help. And you're not going to get it from somebody who can't, one, be honest with you, but also identify where that help is required.
Dorothy, stand by. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, Dorothy Holder is my special guest this hour. And if you'd like to find out more about Dorothy, please visit her website, www.dorothyholder.com. This is the X-Zone on the CanCom Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca.
Legs feel heavy, vision blurry, can't move like I moved before. I shuffle down another hallway, counting every careful step. Back and hips scream like thunder, but there's still fire inside my chest. They see the chair, the lens. In the heart of the night, where the shadows play, on the X-Zone we gather, come what may, with Rob McConnell guiding us through the dark, searching for truth hidden, igniting the spark. Whispers of spirits, both gentle and bold, tales of the ancients in the stories retold, from haunted old houses to the echoing halls. We seek the unknown where mystery calls. On the X-Zone radio, where the truth finds a way through the stories of ghosts that wander and sway, inviting the seekers, the wise and the brave. Join us each episode, let the curious say.
Dorothy Holder is my guest this hour, X-Zone. Her website is dorothyholder.com. What are some of the most common misconceptions that people have about spirituality and intuition and reading auras and all the wonderful work that you do?
Well, I'll address the aura bit first, shall I?
Sure.
The biggest misconception is that it's a spiritual anything because it's a physiological and measured reality and has been well known, tested, since the 1980s, somewhere in there. Fully measured in the early 90s, recorded. There's even a national health page about biophysics and biophotonic emissions, which is the aura, its proper name. And so the biggest misconception is that assumption that it isn't your cells emitting this light, because it is. I can remember, you know what, when I was young, don't get me started because you know what I'm like, you have to call me in later. I was years ago watching them test eels, you know, moray eels or electric eels, I think they were. And they were talking about their cells. And I can remember as a young person thinking, what has an eel cell's got to do with human medicine or energy, not healing, sorry, but medicine and bodies and physiology. And of course I realized, all the cells are the same. It's just their cells are more developed with light and we emit the same light at much lower levels. And I got it. It was like, it fused together in 1997. I can tell you the moment. And so it was one of those very interesting things. So I thought we needed to lift the spiritual bar just a tad, because we were putting physiological realities into a spiritual zone, and I see them as the same but separate, right? And so if we're looking at the body, the energy therapy excites those particles, excites the cells, excites the motion of energy through the body, and excites the biophotonic emissions and movements, because I can see them change when I'm working on people. Then it means something's actually happening in the body. And I think if we are looking at a spiritual development, the chances are we will have a physiological response if we're actually doing the work. The physiological response can be discomfort. It can be uncomfortable at times. A person could feel a bit sick. They could feel a little bit heady. There should be a physiological response if the work is being done correctly.
Let me ask you something.
And then we move on to... sure.
Let me ask you something. How is it that you can read auras when just by talking to somebody on the phone? Or how do you do it?
Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. It sounds like I'm harping on, but that's how fast light travels. So you aren't talking to you and I are not on opposite sides of the world, right? When you think of it this way. So as light is moving that fast from your cells, your body, to me, and vice versa, that doubles the speed, right? Like a head-on collision.
Wow.
So if I'm focused just on you.
So if you were just to focus on me right now, what can you tell about my aura?
So you've probably had a sore neck not too long ago, but I see a bit of grey and a bit of orange running down your left shoulder. So there could be some interaction in there. That's immediate right there. But I also want to say you probably lead with your shoulder. So I'm not sure if you're argy-bargy things. It's like push your way into things. It's got that sort of sense to it. Maybe us sports in the old days, perhaps. I'm sorry, I'm not implying you're old.
I am.
So I know, but I didn't want to imply it.
No, it's okay.
It's one thing to say it out loud. It's another thing to imply it. So I've got that sense around there. The grey suggests healing in that area. So there's been some damage done that has been semi-resolved. If I can see anything at all, it's not 100% gone. The orange color is actually a creative energy, and it is the left side I'm looking at, I hope. So that's one of my biggest things. That am I looking at the left or am I looking at the right? Depends whether you're facing me or not. Interesting, but true. So when you are looking at orange, it's running, I want to say cerise. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a soft orange, something you might see it, a soft sunset, and it comes down to your elbow, and it tends to mean that there's a lot of productivity. So you're probably right brain, left body kind of a guy who's always thinking, creating. And I don't mean just because of what you do. It's just a non-finishing, ongoing thing that you've probably done all your life. The whole thing is what next? So you might be a little impossible at times. It's like, just stop already. Just
No, you're doing great.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Just stop already, settle petal is what others might sort of want to say to you now and again. I would call you an active relaxer, actually, a person who's sitting around doesn't seem to be all that productive, and therefore you'll find something to do most of the time.
That's where you're wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong. Good on
Yeah.
me. So I'm going to hold with that and leave it there because
Okay.
there's nothing I can do about that. But be wrong, you get that, right? I don't have to fix
Oh
it.
yeah, but I'm sure you would rather have me say you're wrong than to say you're right when you're wrong.
That's what I was just saying. I'm happy to go with that.
Yeah.
Happy to leave that there. It's not. I don't want to say it's not science, but I do want to say that it's not perfect. It's something you start to run with. Remember, I mentioned intuition and clairvoyance. One is experiencing something another person's way, and then having to interpret that.
Well,
would
you say aura reading is more scientific than psychic reading?
Not really.
No,
I think that no psychic can be psychic without the aura. See, that's what I think.
Okay.
It's just my opinion, but because it's the only thing moving into your future, before you get there, there's not really any other way to do it. But I think if a person doesn't think they're reading aura because they're not seeing it, I think what they're doing is, and it's my opinion, that's it, So I believe that over the years, I've decided that what we're doing is then we pop over a couple of years or a couple of months and we stop on something that's highlighted like high energy or super low energy or something in there, and then we have a moment, we have a snapshot of that moment, and then we skid away to the next thing. But essentially, when I talk about auras, it's not just your color leaving in front of it, it's your life heading off out in front of you, because your being is moving into that future, so your whole being is moving there. One of my other embarrassing moments, and I've had plenty, because when you do live work, when you do things that people can listen to, if you don't make mistakes, you're not real. That's where I'm really at, especially in a modern world when people look people up on Facebook, right, and look them up on social media before they do a reading these days. There's this moment where I was reading as a platform. Do you know what platform reading is? I think they call it gallery reading now.
No, I don't.
Oh, you stand up in front of a whole lot of people.
Oh, okay.
And you scare yourself silly because you're going to do this public speaking thing and you're being a clairvoyant while you're doing it. And this woman was in front of me and I said to her, I can feel your mum around. This is when I learned mediumship may not be what we think it is. And it was a very long time ago. And I'm looking at this woman, I'm going, I feel your mum around you. It's like she's right behind you. And I can feel her. She's just like in your life. She's enjoying your life. And again, it's your interpretation, my interpretation of what I'm feeling and seeing, correct? Anyway, so she's staring at me like she's entranced. And I think, oh, I'm nailing this. And then she looks at me and she goes, that's my mum. She's sitting right behind me. I was like, oh, okay then.
No, see, I would have said, you think she's your mother.
Well, I tell you what, it blew me away, because in that moment, just to be clear here, I thought I was being a medium reading a dead person, and I wasn't. And that was when I suddenly started realizing, well, hang on a minute. If I can see a living person's energy connected to another living person, maybe I need to look a bit further here and see what else is going on. And there wasn't a lot of information back then. It was mediumship, very little in anything else, a bit of Reiki, I guess, a lot floating around Auckland, that's for sure. My point was still that you can see people living their lives and experiencing their lives in a variety of ways. So when I do see somebody who happens to be passed away, maybe I'm still seeing that aura light that's still moving through time, right?
Possible, but I like my answer better.
Well, so I'm not with choosing an answer. I'm saying, yeah, it's possible.
You see,
that's what we're looking
You're
at.
nice. You wouldn't have said that. Oh my gosh, years ago, this must have been about 20, 25 years ago, I'm doing a live show at the Purple Onion here in St. Catharines, a beautiful restaurant. And I used to do my show live every Friday night there. I think I was there for about a year and a half. And this one night, my guest is David Lafort, a very well-known and established psychic who's passed away since. And this lady called up, and she said, I'd like to speak to the psychic, please. And David and David says, I'm here. She says, well, I want you to help me. I lost my pussycat, and I miss my pussycat so much. And she's starting to cry, right? And David, God bless him, he was such a wonderful person. And I could see he's having trouble trying to get the answer out. So I'm going to a commercial break, right? I've got somebody in the studio saying, Rob, hurry up, Rob. And I said, oh, for God's sake, your cat was crossing the QEW, got smucked by a car. It's in pussy heaven right now. Have a great day. We go to the commercial break, and David looks at me and says, how did you know?
It's beautiful. I love it. Yeah. How did you know?
How did you know? David, I just made it up. I had to go to a commercial break. He said, you think you made it up. I said, oh, geez.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well,
I've had those moments too, my dear. So
yeah,
I know.
So those are what I see as connections, which are pretty much auric. And here's something we don't know. We don't know that she didn't know that. So
plus she didn't know that I've got to go to a commercial now too. So please stand by. This is Rob McConnell, the show, and I'm the little old lady whose cat got schmucked on the QEW, and we'll be back after this commercial break. Don't go away. Are you still there? I said, don't go away. Huh? All right, and we're back here, so we'll be back on the other side of this break. You're listening to us on the CanCom Broadcast Network, and I hope I didn't offend anybody who's got a lost cat anywhere. And on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us around the world on classic1220.ca. I bet you I'm going to get a call from the Humane Society tomorrow morning. I've got that feeling. Either that or a bunch of people are going to want to know how to contact that little old lady because they've got kittens all over the place now. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Tales of the ancients in the stories retold. From haunted old houses to the echoing halls, we seek the unknown where mystery calls. On the X-Zone Radio. From Buffalo streets to the New York lights, a mind on fire burning so bright. He walked with legends, hand in hand. Michael Jackson, John Mellencamp, Billy Joel sang, Prince played his part. ZZ Top rock straight from the heart. Through every note, through every tune, the world was changed by Howard Howard, the man who invented the 6 days. Your voice echoes on through the decades of history. From music's great halls to the books that you write, you turn the dark into radiant light. Howard, your spirit will always shine through. A brother, a mentor, a friend, tried and true. Author of galaxies, bold and profound. Stories of cosmos, wisdom unbound. From Woodstock's dream to today's new.
Dorothy Holder is our special guest this hour, Exo Nation, www.dorothyholder.com. Dorothy, based on the work that you've done over the many years that you've been helping people out, why do so many people search for deeper meaning during times of personal crisis? Why don't they prepare for those personal crises so that when they happen, they know what to do?
I think it's about the desire to know something. So when there's a personal crisis, a person wants to understand, how did this come to be, or what can I do differently in the future? When everybody's trissy-la-laing along in their life and they're all happy, there's no need, is there? What do you want to look at? You don't need to make problems. It's like, don't go looking for something that isn't there. But when it does happen, I think the level where a person is at. Obviously, if somebody's got a habit of making decisions that don't assist them through life, that they don't feel, we're back to that, if they don't feel good about themselves, if they're not the best version of who they could be, they want to be that person. They want to find who is that person. And sometimes I think people are a bit scared to look, so it takes them a while to get there. They're like, what if I don't like me when I find the true me? And I see that quite a bit. Surprisingly, I was doing aura readings at an agricultural show. I'm pretty sure you guys have those too, right?
Sure
They're
do,
like
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was doing aura readings, and these teenagers, they always break my heart a little bit because they'll walk up and they'll go, I bet I don't have an aura. I bet my aura is black. I bet I don't have an aura that's worth looking at. Surprising, boys and girls, by the way. This isn't just a girl thing. And I would always make sure I had a good look and send them away with a bit of spark or something. But it's like those people are already setting themselves up, aren't they, for an idea that their life can't be satisfied in some way because they're deficient.
That is sad. That is really sad.
It is. It's very sad. And so it's not every person, every teen, but I do think it's again, it's something they try to address as a mental health issue, which probably isn't. It probably needs a better look than you've got something wrong with you. And that's the second stage of that, isn't it? We've got more and more of that going on now, where young kids are being diagnosed with issues that they don't really have and shouldn't really have. And the diagnosis ensures that they will, So
I often wonder how much of these new problems that we're seeing have a lot to do with the electronic iPhones, the G5 networks that are around, the microwave dishes that are out there. There has to be some connection, because when you pull into a gas station and it says, please turn off your cell before filling up your car, that's a warning. Or a doctor will say, don't put your cell phone up to a child's ear.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know why parents do that with their kids or put them on the internet, exposing their children. I think that's horrifying. Yeah. And even though there's a law about a minimum age, you see it, little children constantly posing for their parents, and I'm horrified by that. So we're going to see a problem from there. But I've got to tell you, we don't have this phones turned off at the gas station thing. We don't have it at all.
Oh, we used to.
Oh, you used to?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'll
no,
take
that
back.
was.
I'm like, really? How did I miss that? I was probably over in Nova Scotia, happily using my phone at the gas station. Yeah.
But like doctors will tell you, don't sleep with a Wi-Fi or your phone near you when you're sleeping. They'll tell you that. Just like the blue light is no good for you to go to sleep with. And how many people use their iPhones while they're waiting to go to sleep?
Well, I think the biggest problem is acknowledgement comes late, when they finally admit it. Like all of the modern phones that we've got have got night lights, so it switches the blue light off and turns yellow light on at sunset or whatever, and it stays that way till the next day. But years after, like 20 years after, people have been using the blue light, and it affects their sleep, and we know that. And that's why people would sit up till 2 a.m, checking out their online stuff, because they've woken themselves up with this blue light.
Plus the fact that we live in a society that is 7/24, 365 news on multiple outlets. That doesn't help either.
Look, I've lost count, Rob, of how many people have said, just turn the news off, go about your day. Because people out in the street aren't shouting this stuff at you. They're saying g'day, they're doing the normal thing. They're talking about the neighbor down the road, they're gossiping about Mary sleeping with Joe. All of this stuff is going on.
That?
He's still doing that.
Jesus.
He just hasn't stopped. And so we've got that real life interaction that, if they're all just sitting there talking about the news that they've been watching incessantly too, it's not like, once a day like it used to be, or twice a day like it used to be. It's whenever they click a button, if they watch it once, then it'll just keep showing it to them, right? That's what the modern social media does, is you click on something and you watch it, then they'll show you another one and another one and another one, until you're sort of down in a deep dark hole thinking the whole world's gone to hell,
Well, it has gone to hell. So.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's ever got out of hell. I'll just be fair on that one. I don't know. All my life it's been like this. My country's pretty cool. We're in the middle of nowhere. Life's good. But it's one of those things that is all my life. Somebody mentioned that to me. I was born 15 years after World War II ended. And then there was all the rest ever since. It's never stopped. Yeah. So we are probably accessing more of it, we're more aware of the day-to-day nature of it, whereas before you would have the world news was a bit at the beginning, right? And then it would move to sports. You'd finish off with watching the All Blacks beat Canada or something. I'm just saying.
Okay. Ouch. I'm sorry, we're losing your feed. Hello.
But, they did it that way. Like you had your big news was at the beginning, and then by the end of it, they would go to local news, and then they'd go to sports news. So it's sort of like, here's your big bomb, and here's your cool down.
But you see, so now the media is, if it don't bleed, it don't lead.
Yeah, exactly. Even, I was talking to a friend because I was doing my own podcasts, and I said, I don't even do them anymore for anything but what I do, because the research is ridiculous. Everything's a headline with a paragraph and an AI picture. And so by the time you've researched something, you've just lost so many hours of your life. It's ridiculous. So we've got that whole dramatization. Hopefully, I don't know. What do you do? So I think having the devices isn't really the issue. It's a bit like, you take a kid and you throw them in the city and say, okay, sink or swim. Rather than designing a system that can work for people. It's how much money can we make out of you and how fast.
That's right. That's
right. Do you know, just a few years ago, there was a study done, I believe, by Oxford or Cambridge in England, and they found the most ripped off people, like on the internet, were under 35s.
Really?
And they were shocked because they thought they'd find us oldies, It's like, no, we're not that trusting.
That's right.
Like, no, we're going to double check. We're going to make sure it's safe before we go there. So there might be the odd rip-off, but it's the under 35s because they have peer-to-peer payments, right? Where a person can say, give me $1, give me $5. Isn't that true?
I don't know. I haven't heard of that one.
Games.
The games. Yes.
Not just games, but psychics are doing it. I'm just telling you right now. You've got Etsy psychics, like, give me $2 and I'll give you a reading. It's like the complaint's a legend, but they're paying it where I wouldn't. I would think, maybe that's not going to be quite right.
But on the other hand, if a psychic is doing $2 a reading and they do 3 readings an hour, and that's $6. And if they do 10 a day, that's $60. So you know what? I would rather pay a psychic $2 than pay a psychic $125.
Well, let's go back to that and say, but they're not psychics, right? The complaints are legendary. So there's a thing called AI, which used to be called a bot. So they've jazzed it up, but it's still bot technology. And people go in there and they go, here's your question, and then they just plonk that. It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just saying that the rip-off agencies say under 35s are the ones getting done. There you go.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you about our future?
Well, it's a bit sad, I've got to say. But I think there's also that, that instant gratification is a problem. Like, it's a genuine problem, because who wants to work for something if they can't see a reward within a reasonable time frame? Or who wants to work for, attainment of anything? Because what is it, the Japanese? It's 10,000 hours to mastery. 10,000 hours to mastery. Wow. And they honor that. And we had that too, right? Where you'd have a person go into an apprenticeship, right? For 3 years? Then they'd work with
then master.
That's it.
Yeah.
They'd work with a tradie for a couple of years after that, and then they would become their own person in that. So 5 or 6 years down the track, that's kind of what you're talking. You're talking those numbers of hours of experience and practice, not just I learned it and now I am. So there's a bit of that going on. But I don't know. Again, we need to look at the real world around us and evaluate from there, not from social media, because social media comes and goes. MySpace, I'm still sad about that. I'm still sad. That glitter was great. Yeah, they were the ones with all the glitter and the messages, right? I had friends that used to send me glitter messages.
Cool. That was cool.
It was pretty cool. At the time, there was nothing else like it. It was marvelous, absolutely marvelous. So I don't know. I think it's more, we do need to look up and look around, and we do need to interact with people. I think my biggest advice in recent years when I've done relationship guidance is don't fight over text. That's just stupid. If you've got a partner, you go and talk to them, see their body response, their face, let them have the opportunity to respond to you. Don't just go bleh.
It comes out to the old secret to any relationship is communication.
Exactly, face to face.
You've got it. You and I have to say so long for tonight, my dear friend.
Thank you very much.
Always great talking to you. Take care of yourself. Come back and visit us shortly. And X-Zone Nation, if you'd like to contact Dorothy, her website is dorothyholder.com. That's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. until midnight, right here on the CanCom Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca. So until tomorrow night, my friends, always remember to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.